This is a podcast from WOR.
This is the Page Publishing Book Club. I'm your host, Alice Stockton Rossini, along with Rob Barrett's king of all engineers. I don't know how some of these writers, first-time writers, never wrote a word in their lives, come up with some of these stories. So let's go out to Hawaii and meet Sandra Sawin. She wrote a book called Emily's Big Hat Adventure. So let's start with who's Emily?
Okay, Emily is actually how this all started was I'm actually an artist, not an author. And I painted this picture of a beautiful ostrich. And when I was painting it, it struck me that her name should be Emily. And she had such a great face and such a great personality about her. I knew that there was a story behind her. But I just didn't know what it was yet when I painted it. So time went by, and then I took a trip to Africa. And when I came back, I started to paint the animals from Africa in a very cute way, like for a storybook. And then looking at her and looking at the animals, all of a sudden the story started to take place.
What's the big hat about?
Okay. Well, Emily is she's a very beautiful ostrich, but like with all of us, she struggles with self-image. So one day she's looking in the mirror and she thought if she would look a lot prettier if she had the proper hat on her head. But she didn't want anything that made her look too fat.
Of course not. Does this hat make me look fat? Right?
So she goes on this whole adventure thinking if she finds the proper hat, that it's going to solve all of her self-image problems. So she goes from friend to friend trying to find a proper hat, trying on hats here and there. But because she doesn't see herself as beautiful, no matter what she tries on doesn't satisfy her, even though every single hat looks fantastic on her because she's already really pretty. Along the way, she meets an artist who finally convinces her that she is picture perfect just the way she is. So the whole idea about this book is to teach children to love themselves just the way they are.
I love that. You know what? Especially for girls.
Oh, yes. Well, I was thinking, in this day and age, it's very kind of sad because girls are so scared of not looking like everybody else, and they have all these magazines, and they're supposed to dress properly, and they never feel comfortable about themselves. And I remember as a child, I was very tall. So I thought I was too tall, I was too skinny, my eyes were too big, my feet were too big, a lot of insecurities along the way. So I kind of drew from that.
That's great.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of bullying, and I think if everybody feels very comfortable with who they are, this could really help.
How are you getting this book out there?
What I'm doing myself is I'm self-selling it. I have it on social media, on Facebook, and I also have an art site. And I've presented it at art fairs.
Did you do all of the illustrations in the book?
Yes, all of the illustrations are mine. And my boyfriend helped me to do the digital illustrations, like the background illustrations. But all the other illustrations are my illustrations. So I said, I worked kind of backwards because I had the illustrations first. Yeah. And I had to write a story around the illustrations.
Right. Yeah, but you're in Hawaii, and there's always tourists.
Well, I tell you who really does love the book, grandmothers and teachers, because right away they see, oh my God, this is such a good lesson for the children. And in fact, it got accepted in New York in the Head Start program in Manhattan.
That's great.
Yeah, and they're using it there.
In the Head Start program right here in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
How did that happen?
Because we know I have a psychologist friend, and he works a lot with the children. So after he saw the book, he says, I have to show it to them. And after he did, they ordered a whole bunch of copies to use at school.
Do you know how lucky you are?
Very.
That's great. So you're actually making some money with this thing.
Well, the thing was, for me, it wasn't about so much the money. It was kind of like just to get this out there and have children read it and take something from it.
How did you find Paige?
I looked at different places and I read about different places and I picked Paige. And the funny thing is, when I first did the book, I did like some mock-up books and I showed it to girlfriends. So children hadn't even seen it yet, so I showed it to adults. and all the adults loved it because it's kind of like a story. So, I didn't even put an age group on it. I think it's more like from 3 to 7, but why I didn't direct it to any age group is because it's kind of a book for many people, even as adults. I mean, we go shopping. What do? The first thing, we try something on. We look in the mirror and we say, does this make me look fat?
Mm-hmm. That's right. You got it right. I've spent a lifetime asking that question.
So we never quite get over it.
No.
So a lot of adults have actually embraced it and said, I don't have a child, but I like it for myself.
Great.
They like the illustrations. When I sell it here, what I do is I tell people, give me the name of the child, because I have a part in the book in the beginning that says, this adventure belongs to. And then I put the child's name in, and then I sign my name. This way it makes it very personal.
It sure does make it personal. Rob, do I look fat in these headphones? Do I? I hate it when headphones make me look fat. How about my glasses? They make me look fat? That's what women are always asking. Does it make me look fat? Sandra really hit on something with this one, I got to tell you. And all the way from Hawaii, she manages to get her book into New York City's Head Start program. Way to go, Sandra. I hope you've been inspired by tonight's authors. What did we learn? What did we learn? This is a test. Pay attention to your dreams. Write them down. And self-promote. I mean, Paige does a lot for authors. They really do. But nobody promotes your book better than you. So let's do it again next week. What do you say, huh? Why don't you come back? Rob will be here. I'll be here. You going to come back? Rob's coming back. I definitely want to come back next week. Maybe I'll write a book and interview myself. What do you think? Join us next week, same time, same place, 710 WOR for another edition of the Page Publishing Book Club. Have a great weekend.